phone setup, computer setup, uploading a new podcast. Oh, and that noise means that this podcast is ready to be uploaded. But the reason why I've got my phone out is that there's a guy here on Skype and he wants to do like an over the phone interview with me. He wants to talk about the future of podcasting. He's an ex-journalist from CNN. I don't know what questions he's got ready for me, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes.
Because it's been a pretty crazy time for anybody from New Zealand over the past few days, right?
Yeah, some pretty bad earthquakes back home, but
as a broadcast journalist for companies like CNN and ITV News, Channel 4 News, BBC, stuff like that.
Perfect.
Over here in the UK. I spent a few years at a quant hedge fund. I run a production company making corporate content, fashion and media, and you kind of play in that at the same time with your podcasts and your brand that you're building. Do you see it all as kind of one thing playing into each other?
yeah, I mean, when I started Honor and Conquer as a whole, I originally started as an apparel company, and then when funds ran dry, I wanted to come up with something to still create traffic to the website, and then podcasting kind of was something I always wanted to do. Yeah.
And what do you? But when you Instagram and doing stuff there, I mean, it's just such an engaged audience. Do you find it difficult to get your podcast in front of people, build up, people who are listening, or get them over to the site? How do you find that?
Honestly, I don't really worry too much about the Instagram stuff. I mean, the Instagram stuff is like it's there and you have followers, but it's the content and the message behind whatever you do, whether it's podcasting. That's the most important part to me in building a community. And if they find my Instagram first, there's always a link on there to come to the podcast. I'm more worried about the content that I do create for people to listen to.
Yeah. No, I mean it's kind of it's like a little legacy world to itself that's kind of gone down its own little tangent on the tree of life, like podcasting, tech. Everything else has kind of gone in that direction. Then you have Stitcher, and you still have RSS feeds and Apple, iTunes.
So I did the interview. I thought it went pretty well with the guy. I didn't realize he was calling from the UK, but I thought it was pretty productive. He asked some really valid questions. He wanted my input on like podcasting and what I thought about it as a media platform. I guess there's one thing that I kind of wanted to pass on to people like you guys who want to start their own podcast, and that's worry about the content, worry about the stuff that is in the podcast itself. A lot of people have a tendency of looking for like sponsorships right off the bat after episode 1. I feel like if you create better content for your listeners and your future subscribers, then that's all that matters. All that kind of stuff will just come naturally, like sponsorships. And I always say that I started my podcast just with an iPad and the built-in microphone, and then 2 years later I've got sponsorships with people who actually want to be on my show, and I did a cool interview with the CNN guy. So I guess that's one piece of information that I feel like it should be basic, but and I found a hole in my hoodie. Look at that. Look at that. See, that's how shit Reebok is.